Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are watching us from. May I take this opportunity to welcome you all who has managed to join in. And I'm happy to see you all. Please tag your friend, remind them we are here. And yeah, so they don't miss for this evening. We appreciate you being on a Saturday, coming to join us at Monica K show. You know, there are other things you could have been doing at this particular time, but you chose to be here with us. Thank you so much. And I'm sure some of you, we met last year, and now may I say Happy New Year, because we're in a new year. And yes, welcome. I'm also very grateful for our guest tonight, who is here with us tonight, Mr. Andrew. And in a few minutes, I will welcome him and tell us where he come from, what he do, and then we take it from there. Karibuni sana. I'll now welcome Mr. Andrew. Welcome, and please take a minute or two to introduce yourself and tell us about where you come from. Karibu.
All right. Thank you, Monica. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to your guests. Am I clear from?
Yes, you're very clear. Yeah.
Very
yes.
good. So my name is Andrew Mura. I'm an advocate by training. I've been running a law firm in Nairobi for the last almost 8 years. My firm currently focuses a lot on commercial transactions and real estate transactions. So that is why we are here together.
Yes.
A little bit about, yeah, I think that's about as much as I can say. Of course, the flyer has our website, so anyone who would want to know more about what we do,
yes,
please feel free to check us out on the website. And my number is also going to be available after the show for those who want to reach out personally. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you so much. Once again, welcome. And I really appreciate your time. I know you are very busy, and even to come for this, to do consultation for us this evening, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming in. Now, as yes, the topic for tonight, we are talking about the land matters, and this is in Kenya, because in one way or another, all of us, maybe we've had issues with land, buy, selling, or even inheritance. These are some of the issues we go through. And may I start from a basic level and ask you, Andrew, what are the procedures of buying a land in Kenya and selling at the same time? What do you need to do?
Wow, that's very, very broad, but I'm happy to expound. And of course, if you receive more specific questions, I'm happy to answer them as well. Buying land in Kenya, let me first start from the perspective of the buyer. We normally say in practice, the person with the most risk is the buyer as opposed to the seller. Yes, there have been instances of scrupulous buyers who then expose the seller, but really, in a general way, it is the buyer who is risking their funds for something that might not be in existence. So that basic risk then means that the first thing you need to look out for is due diligence. Yeah. Due diligence is a word that is used often to mean what you need to find out about the land. Yes. And one other thing people forget about the seller as well. So classic case is for us as a firm, when we're doing due diligence for our purchasers, clients, some of the things we do is standard search. This is easily obtainable from the particular registry, if it's Nairobi, if it's Kilifi, Nanyuki, you name it. Secondly, we also have what we do is a green card search. So a green card search is essentially a search that gives you a little bit more history on the land.
Right.
So generally speaking, unless you meet some very, very advanced conmen,
Mm.
people will not be able to doctor the green card at the back of the registry,
Oh,
generally.
really?
Yes, generally speaking. So to just make sure we're on the safe side of things, it's something you can ask any seller, who did you
Mm.
buy property from, or is this property arising from a subdivision? And then
Mhm.
with a green card search on the other side, when you've obtained it from the respective registry, you know
Mhm.
whether the process is legitimate or not.
Mm.
Um, Due diligence also involves searching. Here I'm talking about companies particularly. Um, Companies, we do director searches, we do searches to do with shareholding, just so
Mhm.
that whoever is selling you the land and they say they are representing that company, at
Mhm.
least they ought to appear as a directors or something affiliated with that company.
Yeah.
Last but not least, we've not had to do this in a long time, but
Mhm.
due diligence has sometimes also involved searching individuals' details,
Mm. Yeah.
registry of persons. This is because we've had instances where people have obtained a title deed.
Mhm.
Say the title deed reads um John Doe,
Yes.
and they go and, you know, fake an ID and have an ID registered called John Doe, and
Yes.
that we are able to try and transfer the title. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but that has not, I've not seen that happen in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
So, uh, so classic case to answer your question is the due diligence stage. After you do
Mhm.
the due diligence, you give the signal to the
Mhm.
seller that yes, you're okay to
Yeah.
proceed. Normally, this goes concurrently with the seller preparing the sale agreement.
Okay.
Again,
Mhm.
when we are representing purchasers, we have tended to take the lead and
Mhm.
that we still prepare the sale agreement, because
Yes.
we found that, remember what I mentioned earlier, that the risk is largely on the buyer.
Mm.
So seller will not put any serious protections in the sale agreement,
Yeah.
save a timeline on payment. You pay
Right.
me a deposit on signing this sale agreement and balance upon 90 days. That's all they uh, generally are after.
Mm.
So provisions as to what happens if, for instance, they're not able to get the land control board when they expected to obtain it,
Mhm.
we hope that our sale agreements address such things. Rescission clauses. What happens if you, as a buyer, paid your deposit and
Mhm.
the seller's sale agreement say that you lose 10% of the purchase price? So
Yes.
that's one of the things we try and control, because as representing the purchaser, we
Yes.
insist that what you lose is 10% of the deposit, which is a
Okay.
very, very significant difference between
Yes.
10% of the purchase price and 10% of the deposit.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then now the rest of the emotions really are dependent on the terms agreed in a sale agreement,
Mhm.
culminating in how you then put the transfer, the land control board, obtaining what we call the completion documents. So these are
Okay.
the identification documents of the seller, the
Mhm.
land control board consent if it is freehold agricultural property,
Yeah.
and um, the necessary tax documents. So the PIN, if it's a company, the company's PIN, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, yeah.
So, going back to that green card, as a buyer, so do I have to go to the Ministry of Land? And am I able to access it or?
Yeah, generally you'll find that, so for instance, right now we're doing a due diligence for a property in Kilifi, and
Mhm.
apparently that area is
Mhm.
called Kibabamshe. Apparently that area is a hotspot for fraudulent transactions. So
Really?
sorry?
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So we managed to get in touch with the registrar, and he wanted to know, why do you want the green card? Because a green card search is not a normal search, yes? So
Yeah.
while you, like you've said, while you would be able to apply, you will find that most registries will ask you to have a law firm's letterhead,
Okay.
seeking that green card search. That is not to say that a buyer cannot go and just ask for it, but I've not come across any purchaser without representation has
Yes.
gone and asked for it. Truth be told, it's also perhaps because people don't know about the green card.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just like I said, it's generally an extra precaution that we take as a firm.
Because green card is, it doesn't matter whether I have a title deed. And I could have somebody would give me a title deed, but then the source, the history has to be from a green card to get this title deed.
Correct. So the green card, like I say, the green card helps give you a little bit background based on your own interactions with the seller as to the validity of this transaction. Yeah. Yeah. So for instance, we also recently got a green card search from Kajiado, and the purchaser obtained it from a group ranch. Yeah. So sometimes if it calls for it, sometimes you want to find out. I've seen this happen, again, not very common, but if a purchaser is buying a very significant parcel of land, they then ask the seller to produce their purchase documents or how they ended up with the property. So show me your land control board that you obtained from the family that sold this piece of land. Or this doesn't really apply with the purchasers, but sometimes the tax authorities will want to know, did you pay stamp duty for this property at the amount that it was supposed to be paid for? So they might ask you for that. So it also helps that I should add that, again, at the firm, what we also try to do is we give our clients a completion pack. So if you're the one who has bought the property as Monica and the transaction has come to an end, we will give you. So unfortunately for most people, what they just want is a title. Yeah.
Yes.
In the title, I go to the bank, I want to get some money. Yeah. But what we will do is we will give you a completion pack that has not only the title deed, it will also have the transfer document, because we want it in a copy. It will contain the seller's details, their ID and PIN, or their certificate of incorporation and PIN, and the director's ID and PIN. It contain the land control board application and the letter of consent.
Oh, that is great. Yeah.
You also contain the tax, the stamp duty payment slip. Just that in your pack, you're able to say, this is my pack from that purchase. Then it gives you such amazing legitimacy if you are now selling that property and you provide all these documents to the new purchaser, because now you'll be the seller. We have seen it especially work very well for people who are in the business of buying and selling land as a business.
All right, for this pack. Oh, that's fantastic. So I don't have just to have a title deed, you have the pack of everything.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That is great. Oh, thank you so much. Once again, I welcome those who have joined us now. Welcome. We still on the process of this question to know how the procedures of buying a land in Kenya. So we have a moment of questions later on, and actually we're gonna start it very soon, because I know some of the people who are here, they have a lot of questions they would like to know. And yeah, but we do that in a moment. So Andrew, as we continue, there's also, I've had this thing to do with a certificate. When maybe you buy your parcel from shareholders and you get a certificate, no title deeds. Title deed? What's that all about?
This is, let me call it a relic of colonial days, yeah? Okay, maybe not even colonial days, but let me say post-independent Kenya, where people actually used to operate with letters of allotment.
Okay.
If your audience is of a certain, shall I say, age, they
Yes.
will have interacted with allotment letters from the Nairobi City Council. Yeah.
Yes.
And what used to happen is with that letter of allotment, you would then be able to apply for a title and get the title. But as things used to be back in the day, people were happy to operate with letters of allotment as titles, you know?
Okay.
I think, and now this is, I'm hazarding a guess, I think
Yes.
even banks back then were happy to do loans on the strength of a letter of allotment. That doesn't happen anymore. Yeah.
All right.
Now, transposing that analogy to the certificate that is a shareholder certificate in a land buying company, what happens, and we've seen it with classic case as a SACCO, several other SACCOs, what they do is they buy land and essentially it is your contribution as a SACCO member that enables them to buy that property. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just use simple math and say that the company has 100 shares. Yeah.
Okay.
And of these 100 shares, there are only 10 people. Yeah. So each person giving their 10 shillings means they're entitled to that. Okay, maybe I made it a bit too complex with the zeros. So, so for 10 shillings, okay, let's say the classic case has always been 100 shillings for the value of the share. Yeah. If they pay 100 shillings and there's only 5 of them to make it 500, and then the company buys a property worth 500 shillings, then they each have the same value of shares. Yeah.
Okay.
So what happens is the company is able to buy, then using that share certificate to show that you are entitled to the shareholding of this company, the company then is able to subdivide the land 5 times if there were only 5 shareholders.
Yes.
And then the arising titles are transferred to each person.
Okay.
So again, post-independence Kenya, into the, I would even say up till the 90s, these certificates were even being used to transfer ownership of land between Kenyans. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Again, I like using live examples. My grandma has a piece of land.
Yes.
She bought, I believe, in the 80s through SACCO, and that is the same arrangement that was supposed to be there. Only that now for that particular piece of land, it ended up with some lawsuits, and so they were not able to subdivide and make use, or rather subdivide and get individual titles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So so this certificate, they still exist to some of the shareholders companies. Some of these companies, they still find those certificates.
Some of these land buying companies still have them. In fact, I'd venture to say that they're still operational. You know, it's how chamas are operating even to date. Yeah. So we've come across quite a number of for Kenyans, you know, chamas, self-help groups, pooling resources, buying a big chunk of land. And what we normally say, why the certificate becomes important is because, remember when we started, you mentioned the word inheritance. Yeah?
Yes, yes.
Sometimes the process between buying that big piece of land and subdividing and giving everyone a piece of their property take quite a long time, resulting in a certain shareholder having passed on. So how do their children know that they were entitled to anything, or that their mom or dad was actually trying to get this piece of land? So these certificates become important because they show your stake in that company.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's another thing I've heard, this called the mother title. So I think sometimes when companies they buy a piece of land, they subdivide, and then you hear about mother title. What does that mean?
I think it's just common speak for that original title, that original land that was bought by this land buying company. And it is out of that mother title that other titles come about upon subdivision. Yeah. So for instance, you buy a piece of land, let's call it 100 acres in Laikipia.
Yes.
That 100 acres becomes the mother title. Yeah. Once you subdivide it into the 10-acre blocks that each person is entitled to, when they're talking about the mother title, they're talking about that original title that was bought by the company.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's great to know. There is also now we are moving on to the digital era, and so things are changing, and maybe the same thing with the title deeds, they will change to digital world. So is there anything like that in Kenya, or what is the procedure?
Wow. I can't say it's not going to happen, but if it is going to happen, we're very far. Yeah. Why I say it's going to happen is we've also seen significant developments as far as digital is concerned. Right now with our clients, and by this I mean diaspora clients particularly, we've been able to do transactions using their digital signatures. Yeah. This is because there was an amendment to Kenyan laws in early 2020 that allowed digital signatures to be recognized. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you can use that as a measure of where we are going, then it's easy to say that, yes, we will actually come to the point where someone will be able to show a title with a QR code that is his or hers, and they're able to say, this is my title, and they're able to transfer it as a digital document. But we are not yet there. Remember, it's only now, and it's not even complete in Nairobi, but it's only now that we are scanning all titles, which has caused significant, amazing delays. But it's only now that documents are being scanned in Nairobi. The process is digital. You can do online searches for Nairobi, Machakos, Nyeri, and I believe Mombasa. Only those four, and maybe you can add to that Kisumu. The rest of the registries, and the country is big, don't have that. So I would be lying if I say that we are close to that era.
We'll get there one day. So yeah, I hope so we get there one day. So it's yeah, the world is moving so fast, so might as well move on what is coming on. Yes, thank you so much for those who are joining us in. We are live on Zoom, and we're going to take a break for 2-3 minutes break. Then we come back, we can take some questions, because I know people are waiting to ask some questions on here. And so when we come back after 2 minutes, then we take questions. Thank you.